Yo, what's poppin', y'all? It's your brother Frona back at it with another Nikke video. As you can see on the screen, we have some more information regarding the Resident Evil collab, and in today's video I want to cover the most important things that are on a lot of players' minds, of course being what the characters actually do. So we do have some demonstrations of their burst skill animations as well as their kit descriptions, so I want to cover that in today's video. We're going to be skipping the things like their standard poses and skins and whatnot, because we're going to see some of that stuff in, of course, the videos themselves. So let's not waste any more time. Start off with the first character being Ada Wong. Again, weapon, rocket launcher, burst crossbow. Her skills, she is an attacker character who can either assist burst 3 allies or strengthen herself. Her burst skill makes her stronger and allows her to fire powerful attacks. So let's go ahead and take a look at her actual
My identity? Sorry, that's a secret.
gameplay.
I am willing to hear your story, though.
Again, even though I'm not the biggest fanatic of Resident Evil, I do know that it is not a really fan servicey IP, so I definitely didn't expect to see anything along those lines when it came to the designs for the shooting poses and whatnot. Unless what it shows like Lady D. So in my last
These
video
guys are
commented,
quite persistent.
I don't know how I felt about it last time.
This is gonna make quite the impression.
Burst skill, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, pretty weak. Again, I wasn't expecting too much, but that
You'll have to take it from
really
here.
didn't feel like a whole lot either.
Reloading.
You can see while she was firing some of those enhanced shots.
You'll have to take it from here.
I'm assuming it's probably gonna do something with their explosion radius, but we'll see. Moving on to her actual skills themselves. So she is a burst 3, of course, electric code, which is surprising. I mean, again, I was hoping that neither of the characters were burst 3s this time around, but I guess they can't help themselves. Of course, rocket launcher for the weapon. 6 when it comes to the ammo capacity. 61.3% of attack as damage for her autos. Starting off with skill 1, covert support. Activates when entering first full burst. Affects all burst stage 3 allies who previously cast their burst skill. Attack up 60% of caster's attack for 10 seconds. So off the bat, I can already see that's how they're going to try to bait people into pulling for dupes, because an attacker with a caster's attack buff is pretty significant compared to, of course, a supporter or a defender having that type of buff. True damage up 50% for 10 seconds. And then recovers 10% of damage as HP for 10 seconds. Okay, so she's kind of like a flex off-burst supporter, or like semi-healer in a way, as well as like attack buffer. And true damage as well, which is very interesting. It's one of those kind of mechanics in the game that is definitely underutilized, but it seems ShiftUp has been trying to push out more characters recently, especially with the Absolute Trio that have more true damage effects, so maybe that'll be a precedent for potentially something we could expect to see for third Annie. Maybe they'll bring out some true damage buffers or things along those lines. We'll see. But other than that, skill 2, flash grenade, activates during full burst, affects enemies within the attack range, nearest to the crosshair every 2 seconds. Flash grenade toss deals 420% of final attack as true damage. So there goes the funny number. Activates when using burst skill, affects self. Flash grenade toss, activation time condition, down by 1 second for 10 seconds. So again, looks like her whole kit's gonna revolve around 2 damage. So if you do have the absolute units, I'm sure that's probably gonna be her best pairing for now, outside of course the usual go-tos when it comes to supporting your characters. And then Secret Agent, her burst skill, affects self, attack up by 40% for 10 seconds, true damage up by 42% for 10 seconds. Special modification, its function decreases charge speed but increases charge damage for 1 round. It's interesting. And then the first effect, charge speed goes down by 300%, so this is going to make her shoot very, very slow, so it's pretty much going to be like a Snow White / Maxwell-esque charge up, or even like a Amelia type of charge up, very slow, but charge damage up 1500%. It's going to crank out a lot of damage. Overall, I can see her being pretty decent. I mean, nowadays, when it comes to collabs, we pretty much have been in a state of the game where none of them have really been absolutely trash anymore. I feel like after like way back when we had Chainsaw Man and even when we had like ReZero, I feel like they've kind of realized that it's not the best idea to obviously put out a bunch of characters that just see no usability, either because they don't have synergies that work around them or the kits are just that bad. Obviously, it's not going to help with selling, especially for collaborations that people are less inclined to actually pull for. Obviously, if you make a bad character for what someone might consider, you know, a bad collab, you know, in their opinion, then yeah, you're definitely just going to miss out on that possibility of receiving revenue from those players. But her kit looks pretty decent. I mean, obviously, of course, you have to test in game to see the true usefulness, but decently big number for the final attack in her skill 2 as true damage, and activates every 2 seconds during full burst, so definitely want to use her burst, but she can also still, like I said, work as a flex burst since her skill 1 activates no matter who's really bursting, as long as, you know, burst 3 of course. But with that being said, we'll move on to the next one that we're pretty much going to skip right over, is of course the SR character. We're still going to watch, you know, her video to see her burst skill animation, but obviously when it comes to her kit, I'm not even going to really go too much in depth over it.
These
because
raptures
it's a
are
free
mechanical
unit.
creatures, you
Highly doubt
say?
she's going to have anything special in her
It's
kit.
hard to believe something like that could be enemies of humanity.
I give her a little bit of movement back there to see. It'd be crazy if the SR got the best treatment fan service wise out of all of them.
Damn it! This ends here. Let's finish this in one shot.
Again, burst skill, pretty weak in my opinion. I mean, it literally is
Reloading.
like a second long.
I've got to reload. Cover me.
It's kind of giving me the impression that this is a last second collab, but who knows? I mean, nowadays it seems to be the ongoing trend when it comes to certain collabs that we get. But weapon again, rocket launcher, which is surprising. We got 2 rocket launcher characters this patch or this collab. She's a supporter character who aids her allies. She mixes herbs to heal her allies and dispel debuffs. Ooh, okay, she actually might have some sauce to her kit, but probably still not worth it. So, burst 1, supporter, electric as well. Green herb activates when landing 3 full charge attacks. Affects 2 allies with the ally units with the highest attack. So restores HP by a negligible amount, pretty much. Skill 2, temporary barricade, activates when using burst skill, affects all allies, generates a shield with 10.13% of caster's final max HP. Not too crazy. RGB for the burst skill, affects all allies, more healing, and then dispels 1 debuff. So I mean, yeah, nothing too crazy, pretty much just pretty small healing and shielding. So I mean, if you're like really desperate when it comes to having some type of sustain on your account, then you know, you could use her for a bit, but again, once you get literally any SSR that's remotely better, she's not going to see the light of day again. So that's typically how it goes for the SRs. Nothing we can really do about it. But now we got Jill, Valentine, of course, weapon AR, Lightning Eagle. She's an attacker character who reloads with special bullets to enhance her attacking capabilities. Her burst skill allows her to switch to more powerful special bullets that boost her attacks and bypass defenses. Okay. Sounds a little crazy there. We'll see how that looks.
Tell me, who are you
Yeah,
fighting for?
If it's like actual like just
Yourselves
defense,
or the survivors?
you know, modifiers, and that's not going to be the best, but we'll see how that translates. It's interesting how, even though she has her weapon classified as an AR, she's using a pistol. Rate of fire looks pretty slow, which doesn't make sense for it being a pistol.
Reload!
Like it's a machine gun movie or something. You can see her enhanced
Can you
bullets.
buy me some time?
Had more chunkier sound effect than the visual aspects with the explosions as well. So it looks like all the Resident Evil characters are going to be electric. which is interesting. I guess they're trying to push that out more, which, I mean, makes sense realistically when it comes to electric burst 3 DPSs against SRs. The last one that we got that was actually somewhat meta was all the way back during Christmas when we got Winter Maiden. And then since then, I think really the only one we've probably gotten this year is probably just K, if I'm not mistaken. We have got other electric units, but they were mainly like Burst 1 and Burst 2 characters. So, Burst 3, Attacker, of course, Assault Rifle, ammo capacity 9, which is interesting. For an AR character, it's extremely small. But again, it makes sense because it is a pistol. So I'm assuming they're going to try to compensate for that in some aspect. Deals 71.09% of attack as damage. That's probably where part of the compensation comes from. Skill 1, Magnum Ammo. Attack activates at the start of the battle and upon reloading to max ammunition. Affects self. Magnum Ammo. Normal attack damage multiplier up 30% for 9 rounds. So yeah, there you go. So that's how they're going to try to compensate for her damage there, is just by juicing the normal attack damage multiplier. It's actually pretty nice. Not often that you see something like that for characters, especially DPS characters. And then activates when using burst skill, affects self. True damage up by 34.99% for 10 seconds. So again, gives yourself a little true damage buff. So obviously can run Jill as well as Ada along together if you want to really buff true damage, and then on top of that you could add like the absolute characters like I said earlier for even more true damage buffing, as well as just any other true damage buffers that we have in the game currently. Skill 2, Acid Ammo, activates at the start of the battle and upon reloading to max ammunition. Once again, affects self. Acid Ammo, function, upon reloading to max ammo. Only the first round deals sustained damage to the target. Okay. Effect deals 192% of final attack as sustained damage for 30 seconds. Okay, so I guess they're giving her a bit of true damage and sustained damage, but it's only on that first round after you reload to max, which is interesting. Activates when entering full burst, affects self. Attack up 40% for 10 seconds. And then her burst, Super Cop, affects self as well. Fixes reloading speed at 99.96% increase for 10 seconds. Okay, that's pretty good. So that definitely helps out with her, not only her damage, but also just her general usability. Of course, it's basically just an instant reload with the value being that high, and then if you just put, resilience Q on her, it'll be basically instant. And at that point, would you even need to run resilience? I feel like at that point you probably just run Bastion on her, because even if you just brought like literally any reload speed buffer on top of that, it's basically, like I said, just instant. And then after that, removes 100% of her bullets, so she does a forced reload, which makes sense. Hit rate up 80.78% for 10 seconds. It's really good because she is an AR and they're not always having pinpoint accuracy on their bullets, so that's pretty good, especially with their ammo capacity being as low as it is. It allows her to hit the core a lot more often. Attack damage up 75%, jeez, for 10 seconds? Okay, so very much a selfish burst 3 DPS character. And then normal attacks deal true damage for 10 seconds. Okay, yeah, so very much a selfish DPS who wants basically as much true damage buffs as she can get, since all of her attacks will translate into true damage. Mind you, that's also on top of also giving herself a normal attack damage multiplier, right? For 9 rounds respectively, of course. On top of reload speed buffs, on top of hit rate, on top of attack damage, she very much is a self-sufficient DPS, so I feel like for just looking at, Ada and Jill, I feel like Jill will definitely be the one that's more powerful in terms of just raw damage output. But then I feel like Ada will be the one that shines more when it comes to overall buffing, also sustainability. She does have some healing, of course, in her skill 1. And then also this probably has more flexibility in terms of general team comps, because of course the fact that her skill 1 allows her to basically work as a flex, off burst 3 character. She doesn't have to burst herself, which, I mean, shoot, I don't even know. Would it be better to run her as an off burst at this point? I guess it depends on what electric team you're running. most likely probably would be, but who knows? I mean, we'll have to see, of course, because she does also do a lot of damage in her skill too as well, so it helps her to, you know, work as an off burst more. Other than that, last thing I wanted to cover was just the minigame preview. They didn't show any gameplay or anything like that, but I assume it's probably going to be like, if I had to guess, probably a bullet hell type of minigame, just based on, you know, this image, how it looks. But that's going to do it for today's video. Again, let me know how you guys think about these two characters' kits. Like I said, I feel like they'll be definitely pretty decent overall. Do I think they'll be crazy meta? I mean, it really just depends. Obviously, you know, for collaboration characters, they haven't really been like meta defining or meta shifting, but there definitely have been instances of characters at least having a solid spot in the meta. So I definitely don't think they'll really change the game, because of course they are collaboration characters and there's no guarantee they'll come back. ShiftUp seems to not really want to kind of push that boundary with the community, but definitely, like I said, you know, pretty solid overall. Like, they definitely don't look bad by any means, especially if you pair them with the right characters that buff true damage, which admittedly isn't a whole lot of selection to really sift through, but I'm definitely excited to see how these characters function with the rest of the Nikkes in the game currently. But that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. It's your brother Frona. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace out, y'all.